We have a name. We have a suspect. All we have to do is find him.
And how do you propose we do that?
I have a plan.
Congratulations, first of all. It's really strong show. You're all well-known film stars. What is the main differences between television series and movies?
Time.
Yeah, time is the biggest thing, isn't it? Yeah. We get 10 hours. We were lucky enough to have 10 hours worth of content that allowed all the characters, not just us three, but the density of the book to really shine through this adaptation. And it was, I think all of us thoroughly enjoyed, holding on to the character for 7 months and being able to, delve much deeper. Sometimes when you shoot a movie, things get cut because they just don't fit into the feature-length allowance that we have to have in a movie, whereas in television, it was a real treat to keep digging deeper within the characters and allowing the threads to really meander throughout the story, and we really enjoyed that, I think.
Especially when you're adapting literature and a book which is as rich as The Alienist, written by Caleb Carr. It would have been sad to thin it down and shorten it. So it was great to explore it to the core.
What were your influences on literature or films or TV series on your role? Alienist is a really dark story, and are you into dark stories or serial killer stories? Can you give us some names of some titles? Which your favorites?
I recently enjoyed Mindhunter, I have to say. I found this a very interesting show. And yeah, I've always been drawn into darkness. I think, as my character, says, or is it my character? I'm not sure. Evil lies within us all, I think, is an interesting line, because it's probably me. And it is true. It's something that we have all, human beings have that within us, and we're trying to keep it shut, obviously, because it's a negative feeling, and it's shocking when you have to admit that you have dark and horrible thoughts yourself. And I think that's why we are so incredibly interested in this genre of serial killers, of crime stories, etc.
All of your characters have some strong obsessions and passion. What do you like the most on your character?
Yeah, well, I mean, my character is the first woman to hold a position at the New York Police Department, so I think that's the fact that I love the most about her. I think it's was the thing that made me want to be a part of this series, was that description. And I loved getting to portray a woman in this time period when there were so many restrictions and so many more things that she wasn't allowed to do than she was allowed to do, and to see her pushing back on that and her kind of disregard for what was expected of a woman. She's not married, doesn't have any children, and really doesn't have any desire to at this point in her life. And I think that's such a rare thing to play that sort of character in 1896. And so yeah, I think those were things that I was interested in.
Yeah.
Sarah Howard is the first woman to work in the New York Police Department. Sarah's journey is not a perfect one, and it's not without setbacks. You see the inequality that she has to deal with.
She's the one person who challenges Chrysler's theories because she has theories of her own. It breaks the boundaries of what society prescribed to be the role of men and women.
About those issues, diversity, corruptions, and all that negative things in The Alienist, they're all today's problems also. What do you think about that, the Alienist era and today?
Well, I think that's what's so brilliant about the book, and it's almost a history lesson for everybody, as much as it is a fictional story. It's historically the period in which the story is based was a very interesting moment in New York's history. There was immigration problems, there was no regulations for living quality, there was no child labor laws, there was a huge amount of corruption. the richer were getting richer, the poorer were getting poorer. There was abject poverty right under the noses of the richest upper classes of New York society. And then you compare it, you parallel this story to what happens in large cities of today and around the world, and you think some of these things haven't changed very much at all. You know, we turn on the television and you see abject poverty, and then you think, wow, you know, sometimes you think how far we've come and how little we've come, how little we've moved as well. So it's that's what's great about this show. I think it's thought-provoking, and it starts conversations, and it makes people think. Not just about this fictional story, which is very dense and appealing. It brings you into a story that, you know, reflects and makes you question, you know, society today as well as society back then, 120 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.